Have you ever found yourself so frustrated that you wanted to block someone or beg them to stay? What if I told you there's a way to handle these situations with power, calm, and absolute control, without blocking, begging, or losing your dignity? Sounds too good to be true? Stick around, because in this video, I'll show you exactly how to do it, and watch what happens when you stop reacting and start applying Stoicism. Welcome back to the channel. If you're tired of the emotional roller coaster that comes with relationships and conflict, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into a powerful Stoic approach that will change how you handle difficult people and situations. No more blocking, no more begging, just solid control and inner peace. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy, it's a way of life that can help you master your emotions, handle rejection, and find peace no matter what others do. By the end of this video, you'll know how to regain your strength, take charge of your reactions, and become unshakable in the face of adversity. So, if you're ready to stop playing the emotional games and start living with purpose, let's jump right into it. Now, before we dive into the strategy you came here for, let's take a quick moment to understand the foundation behind it. Stoicism. Stoicism is not about suppressing your emotions or becoming a robot who doesn't feel anything. That's a common misconception. At its core, Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches us one powerful lesson. Focus only on what you can control and let go of everything else. Simple, right? But incredibly effective. Imagine how much lighter life would feel if you stopped wasting energy on things outside your control. What someone else says, how they treat you, or whether they reply to your message. This philosophy was born over 2,000 years ago in ancient Greece and Rome. Think names like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, great minds who dealt with war, betrayal, exile, and hardship, yet remained calm, wise, and grounded. Why? Because they practiced the art of emotional self-control. Stoicism gave them the mental tools to stay clear-headed under pressure. And guess what? It still works today, especially in relationships, heartbreak, and conflict. One of the core principles of Stoicism is control versus reaction. You can't control whether someone breaks your heart, ghosts you, or disrespects you. But what you can control is how you respond. Do you lash out? Do you spiral into sadness? Or do you stay calm, take a breath, and move forward with dignity? A Stoic chooses the last option, because here's the truth. Your power lies in your response. That's where your freedom is. When you master how you respond, you no longer give others control over your emotions. Here's a real-world example. Imagine someone leaves you on read. Most people start overthinking, assuming the worst, or even sending multiple follow-up messages. But the Stoic response: silence, composure, patience. You remind yourself, I can't control their actions, but I can control my peace. That mindset is attractive, it's powerful, and more importantly, it protects your mental health. Another key Stoic teaching is this: it's not what happens to you, but how you perceive it. Life will always throw challenges your way. You'll lose people, get disappointed, feel ignored, but what matters most is the meaning you attach to those experiences. One person might see rejection as proof that they're unlovable. A Stoic sees it as redirection, a lesson, or even freedom from someone who wasn't meant to be in their life. Perception is everything. When you change your perception, the situation changes. Someone ghosted you? Good. Now you have space for someone better. A relationship ended? Good. Now you can focus on your growth. You didn't get that job or opportunity? Good. Maybe something greater is waiting. This shift isn't toxic positivity, it's realistic optimism, one that empowers you instead of draining you. Now you might be thinking, okay, this sounds good in theory, but in the moment, it's hard. And you're right, this isn't about being perfect. Stoicism is about practicing control. It's about recognizing that every emotional trigger is an opportunity to grow stronger. The next time someone tests your patience, instead of reacting, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If it's not, release it. Don't give it power over your mood. And here's the kicker. When you start living this way, people notice. You stop being easily manipulated. You stop chasing or begging. You become unshakable. And ironically, that's when others start to chase you. Because nothing is more magnetic than someone who doesn't need validation from anyone. That's the silent power of Stoicism. So, to sum this up, Stoicism isn't about being cold or distant. It's about learning to respond, rather than react, to focus inward instead of obsessing outward. It teaches you that your peace, your confidence, your sense of self-worth, all of that begins with what you choose to focus on. And when you focus only on what's within your control, you win every time. Now that you understand the mindset behind Stoicism, let's talk about why blocking or begging isn't the answer, and the one thing you should do instead that will change everything. Let's be honest. When someone hurts you, ignores you, or pulls away, the temptation to block them or beg them can feel overwhelming. We want to do something, anything, to regain a sense of control. But here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. Blocking or begging are emotional reactions, not powerful moves. They come from a place of fear, not strength. Let's break this down. When you block someone out of anger or frustration, it might feel empowering in the moment. You think, that'll show them. But deep down, it's often just a way of avoiding your feelings. You're not really moving on. You're suppressing pain and pretending you don't care. Blocking them becomes a defense mechanism, not a decision made from clarity. It's a short-term fix, not long-term healing. Begging, on the other hand, is even worse for your self-worth. Whether it's pleading for attention, texting non-stop, or trying to convince someone to stay, it puts all your value in their hands. It says, I need you to choose me so I can feel okay again. That's not love. That's emotional dependency. And it leaves you feeling drained, anxious, and powerless. Stoicism teaches us to never place our peace in someone else's pocket. Think about this. When you beg, you reinforce the idea that you are not enough on your own. When you block in a fit of rage, you're still letting that person control you, just in reverse. You're reacting, you're emotionally entangled. And Stoicism is about untangling yourself from that chaos. Here's the Stoic alternative. Don't block, don't beg, just do nothing. Silence is powerful, distance is powerful. Choosing not to react is powerful. It confuses people who expect drama. It disarms those who feed off control. And it brings the attention back where it belongs, on your own emotional well-being. You're not pretending to be okay. You're actually working on becoming okay, because when you act from emotion, you regret it later. You send that long message only to wish you hadn't. You block them only to obsess over whether they noticed. But when you act from clarity and self-respect, when you do nothing but let go, you walk away with your dignity intact. Let me put it this way. Begging says, you are my source of happiness. Blocking says, you still control how I feel. Silence says, I control my peace and I don't need you to validate that. You may be wondering, but what if they never come back? That's exactly the point. If someone only stays because you begged or only reacts because you blocked them, then their presence isn't genuine. You're manipulating, not building. Something real. Let them choose to come back because they want to, not because you pushed them emotionally. And if they don't come back, that's not your loss. It's redirection. That's the universe removing someone who couldn't respect. Your silence. It's space being cleared for someone better, someone who values you without drama. So next time someone ghosts you, hurts you, or walks away, don't block, don't beg, just breathe. Let your stillness speak. Let your boundaries whisper louder than words, because a person who's centered, who's calm, who responds with wisdom rather than impulse, is unforgettable. That's how Stoics win, not by playing games, but by refusing to play at all. In the next section, I'll show you exactly what to do instead. It's one simple shift, and when you commit to it, people won't know how to handle your peace. They'll start to wonder, why isn't this person reacting like everyone else? That's when the tables turn. Stay with me. The next part will change the way you move forever. So what should you do instead? Here's the truth. Stoicism doesn't tell you to pretend like you don't feel hurt. It teaches you to feel the emotion, acknowledge it, and then let it go. That's real strength. The Stoic approach is simple but powerful. Focus on your response, protect your peace, and invest in your personal growth. Let's break it down. Focus on what you can control. The only thing, and I mean the only thing, fully within your control is your own mind, your thoughts, your actions, your perspective. You can't force someone to love you, to text you back, or to treat you the way you deserve, but you can choose how you respond. So when they ignore you, pull away, or try to manipulate your emotions, don't react out of insecurity. Respond from clarity. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what does a person who values themselves do in this situation? And then do that. Maybe you choose to stay silent. Maybe you choose to go for a walk, to journal, to work out, or to dive into your passion projects. That's what Stoicism looks like in practice. It's not cold, it's composed. Embrace detachment. Let's talk about detachment, one of the most misunderstood parts of Stoicism. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It doesn't mean you shut down emotionally. It means you stop tying your identity and worth to how others treat you. That's the difference. Because when your value depends on someone else's attention, you'll always feel insecure, like you're on trial, constantly waiting for approval. But when you're detached, you're free. Free to love without needing control. Free to walk away without losing yourself. Free to say, I care about you, but I care about my peace more. That's not weakness, that's self-respect. And trust me, people feel that. They sense when you're not desperate for their validation. It either draws them closer or it exposes their inability to respect boundaries. Either way, you win. Cultivate your self-worth. Here's the key. Your peace is not up for negotiation, and your self-worth is not a group project. The moment you stop chasing, stop proving, and stop begging for someone to see your value, you start living like someone who knows their value. That's attractive, that's magnetic, but more importantly, that's healing. Start showing up for yourself. Spend time doing things that align with your values, whether it's reading, learning, working on your goals, or just sitting in stillness. When your world doesn't collapse because someone didn't text back, that's when you know you've stepped into power. What a Stoic response looks like. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine someone you care about begins to fade away. They stop responding. They give you mixed signals. They play mind games. Instead of spiraling into self-doubt or chasing after clarity, you pause. You recognize that their behavior is about them, not you. So you step back. You give space, not as a manipulation tactic, but as a self-care strategy. You continue your life. You read that book. You go to the gym. You smile at strangers. You get better at your craft. You reflect, grow, evolve. And slowly you begin to realize something. You never needed their attention to feel whole. What you needed was this moment to finally choose yourself. That's the Stoic response, not cold, not bitter, just intentional. You don't block out of anger. You don't beg out of fear. You remain still, like a mountain in a storm, and the world begins to notice that calm, that power, because here's the paradox. When you stop chasing people, they start to wonder why. When you stop trying to prove your worth starts to speak for itself. And when you adopt this mindset of control, detachment, and self-worth, your life becomes less about fixing broken relationships and more about building an unshakable self. So what really happens when you decide to take the Stoic path, when you stop reacting emotionally, when you stop begging or blocking, and you start choosing inner peace over drama? Let's talk about the real results, not just theory, but the deep shifts that happen inside you, and how the world begins to respond to your new energy. Outcome 1. You feel empowered. First and foremost, you'll feel empowered, in a way. That's deeper than anything external validation can give you. You're no longer at the mercy of someone else's attention span. Their silence doesn't control your self-worth. Their games don't derail your day. Why? Because you have learned to control the one thing that truly matters, your response. This is a quiet kind of power, not loud, not showy, but real, solid, unshakable. And that power stays with you, through ghosting, through rejection, through the ups and downs of life. Because it's rooted in discipline, not in someone else's approval. You begin to realize, I don't need to manipulate anything to protect my peace. I just need to guard my mind. And that's when everything changes. Outcome 2, you gain respect from others and yourself. Here's something most people don't expect. Others will begin to respect you more. Why? Because you're no longer needy. You're no longer trying to force a connection. You're no longer broadcasting insecurity. Instead, you move with calm confidence. You communicate clearly. You're honest, but not attached to outcomes. People can feel when you're grounded. And whether they say it or not, they notice. Some will step up and match your maturity. Others will quietly fade because they can't handle the energy of someone who's emotionally sovereign. Either way, you win because you're not interested in being liked by everyone. You're interested in living in alignment. And here's the secret bonus. You start to respect yourself more. That self-respect becomes your armor. You look in the mirror and you see someone who chose peace over panic, maturity over manipulation. That's self-image. Priceless outcome. 3, you build real connections. This is the most beautiful part. By practicing Stoicism, you create space for real, meaningful relationships. See, relationships that are built on chasing, begging, guilt-tripping, or emotional games. Those don't last. They drain you. They make you question your value. They keep you stuck in cycles of approval addiction. But when you embody Stoic principles, when you show up fully as yourself, without needing anyone to complete you, you attract people who get it. People who value emotional maturity. People who want real connection, not codependency. You build relationships based on mutual respect, clear communication, and shared values, not on who can out-ignore who. And trust me, those are the kinds of bonds that stand the test of time. Let me give you an example. I've seen people, maybe even like you, who used to spiral every time someone didn't respond. Their self-esteem would crash. They'd send follow-up texts, replay conversations in their head, ask everyone for advice, and feel completely drained. Then something shifted. They discovered Stoicism. They stopped trying to control what couldn't be controlled. They learned to sit with discomfort. They practiced emotional detachment. And something incredible happened. They became calm and not numb, just centered. Their world didn't revolve around one person anymore. Their happiness wasn't tied to unread messages. And you know what? People started to notice. Friends reached out more. Relationships improved. Even the ones who had ghosted them came back, curious about this new, composed energy. But by then, they didn't need the attention anymore. They were good, either way. That's the kind of transformation Stoicism brings. It's not about getting them back, it's about getting yourself back, and from that place of wholeness, building relationships that are healthy, equal, and fulfilling. Now that you understand the power of Stoicism and how it transforms your relationships and inner peace, let's get real practical. How do you actually start living this out in everyday life? Because it's one thing to hear about Stoicism. It's another thing to apply it when your emotions are running high, your phone is silent, and your mind is spiraling. But with a few intentional steps, you can begin to build the kind of mental resilience that makes a real difference. Let's break it down. Tip 1. Reflect before reacting. This is your first line of defense. Before you text back, block, rant, or breakdown, pause. Take a breath and ask yourself, what is within my control right now? That single question puts you back in the driver's seat. It breaks the automatic emotional response and creates a space where wisdom can speak. Instead of reacting impulsively, you give yourself room to choose. And that choice, to pause, to reflect, to respond with clarity, is what separates those who are driven by chaos from those who live with calm. You may not be able to control what they said, what they did, or what they didn't do, but you can always control how you respond. That's where your real power lies. Tip 2. Practice emotional detachment. This doesn't mean becoming cold or emotionless, not at all. Emotional detachment means you stop tying your self-worth to how someone else treats you. You begin to separate your identity from their behavior. You stop thinking, they ignored me, so I must not matter, and instead think, their actions reflect them, not me. When someone disappoints you or distances themselves, don't internalize it. Instead, say to yourself, I can't control how others show up, but I can control how I carry myself. That's the Stoic way. This kind of detachment builds unshakable self-esteem. Because your peace is no longer rented out to the whims of others, you own it fully. Tip 3. Focus on self-improvement. Here's a powerful truth. When you're focused on your growth, drama becomes background noise. Instead of sitting around, wondering why someone hasn't texted back or analyzing every word in the conversation, redirect that energy into you. Read a book. Learn a skill, work out, advance your career, meditate, volunteer, build something meaningful, because when you invest in becoming your best self, you naturally attract people who are also walking their own path with purpose. You stop craving attention because you're busy evolving. Remember, the strongest revenge is not revenge, it's self-mastery. It's building a life so full, so rich, and so peaceful that you don't even notice who walked away. Tip 4. Reframe the situation. This is where Stoicism becomes a superpower. You change your lens. Let's say someone ghosted you or said something disrespectful. The automatic reaction is hurt, anger, or shame. But the Stoic approach, reframe it. Instead of, why would they do that to me? Try, this is a chance to strengthen my patience, to let go with grace, to test my discipline. Each challenge becomes a teacher, each setback becomes a mirror, and each painful interaction becomes an opportunity to practice wisdom, tolerance, and self-restraint. Ask yourself, how can I use this moment to grow in character? That question flips the script. You go from victim to victor, from powerless to powerful. You don't need to become a philosopher overnight. Stoicism isn't about being perfect, it's about being intentional. Little by little, as you start practicing these principles, you'll notice a shift. You'll stop feeling like life is happening to you and start feeling like you are living with direction and dignity. No more begging. No more blocking in frustration, just clarity, calm, and control over what matters most. Your own mind. And the dough is freedom. So let's bring it all together. Remember this, instead of blocking someone in anger or begging them for attention, embrace the Stoic way. Focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your peace. Let go of what isn't yours to carry, their choices, their behavior, their silence. Because once you reclaim your energy and stop outsourcing your worth to others, something incredible happens. You gain clarity, you gain strength, and you gain yourself. Your relationships start to change because you change. You show up with calm, with purpose, with quiet confidence, and the people who matter will recognize that. They'll respect it, and they'll be drawn to it. So don't beg, don't block, stand still in your worth. That's the Stoic way. If this video gave you something valuable, a mindset shift, a moment of clarity, or just the peace of knowing you're not alone, then do 3 things. Hit the like button. It lets me know this message resonated with you. Subscribe for more Stoic wisdom, life strategy, and mindset shifts that empower you. Drop a comment below. How will you apply Stoicism to your own life this week? I'd love to hear your story. And hey, don't go far. In the next video, we're diving even deeper into the power of Stoicism, how it can help you tackle even bigger life challenges with calm, courage, and clarity. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. And remember, peace isn't found in changing others. It's found in mastering yourself. See you in the next one.